All right, hello QNI. Welcome to week 3 of QNBibe. Tonight I'm excited to share one of the most famous classic cocktails with you, the Martini. And we'll also do a vodka variant for those of you who prefer vodka to gin. As usual, I'm joined by my lovely assistant Valerie. Can you say hi? We're working on waving. It's not automatic yet. But all right, the Martini. Many of you have seen James Bond films. So if you've never had a martini, you've at least seen one there and you've heard about how it's prepared. Tonight we're going to do the most basic dry martini possible. Now, the martini itself has generally been used to refer to any sort of drink served in a large martini glass, usually with gin or vodka. Strictly speaking, the original martini uses gin. We're going to use gin tonight, but just be aware you can substitute the gin that we're pouring in for vodka with the same proportions. It will taste much more like vodka. I don't think the juniper taste of the gin can be beat. With vodka, you're gonna taste a lot more of that pure vodka grain flavor. Hey baby girl, you wanna hold on to something? How about a spoon? A spoon? But that's a preference. If you like vodka in your martinis, it's perfectly suitable. So let's start with the basic gin martini. We'll take our shaker glass here. We're gonna go ahead and put in ice. Again, we want more ice than you think, just so we don't dilute the drink. The more ice you have, the colder it's gonna stay. So I'm gonna put in 5 or 6. So full of ice. We're going to start with our gin. And the most important thing here is the ratio of vermouth to gin, or gin to vermouth. So classically, I've seen ratios that go as high as 15 to 1. I've also seen people serve it basically in equal proportions. I think a good range is from 3 to 5. So if you like a weaker martini, you could put in 3 measures of gin and 1 of dry vermouth. You could also put in, hey, you're okay. You could also put in 5. So tonight we're gonna do 5 because I'm very much into the boozy flavor. So I'm gonna put in 60 milliliters of gin, and because it's a 5 to 1 ratio, those of you who are somewhat adequate at math will realize I'm going to put in 12 of dry vermouth. So here comes 60 milliliters of gin. Now, as for the type of gin, there's so many good gins out there today that it's hard to go wrong. I would just avoid anything on the bottom shelf. This is Bombay Sapphire. Just straight Bombay is also nice. Beefeater is a suitable alternative. There's a lot of American gins. Aviation's a good one, especially for you ACAS folks. Hey. There's Bulldog gin, which is good. There's all sorts of British gins that are absolutely excellent. If you want to really step it up, there's one called the Botanist that I like. That's a little pricier. It's Scottish. You can also go with Citadel gin, which is French, very dependable. I like it very much. But Bombay is kind of the house spirit here. So now we get our dry, our dry vermouth. Just Martini and Rossi works for this, but there's lots of fancy vermouths you can get. I find the vermouth, as long as it's suitable, is good. So because we're going for a 5 to 1 ratio, I'm going to put in just under 15, 12 milliliters. So there it is, and it goes. Now, there is an option here to add a little bit of bitter in this. And I would recommend not Angostura bitters because they're too strong, but you could do orange bitters from Angostura. And I'm just going to put in a drop. It's totally optional. I'll say that if you're going to put in an olive later, which some people like to do, I wouldn't do the bitters. If you're going to use a lemon twist, like I'm going to, the bitters are a real nice pairing. So we've got our gin, we've got our dry vermouth, we've got our bitters. I'm going to stir. And again, the longer you stir this, the better. I would say the returns start to diminish after about a minute and a half. And some of you will ask, should I shake it or stir it? The answer is really that it doesn't matter. If you're going to shake it, it's going to be colder quicker. It's also going to aerate the gin, not bruise it, aerate it. It's going to create a lot of little air bubbles. It's going to make it kind of murky. It's not going to be as clear, but it's not really going to taste much different. It'll bring out the vermouth a little more, which I generally don't want. So I like to stir mine, but you're not doing anything wrong if you decide to shake it. I also am very lazy, and just shaking it takes a lot of energy, which I'd rather spend on this one, right? You want to stir it? Can you stir it for me? Can we stir? No? Oh man, some helper you are. You like that? Can you see that? Oh. Is that fun? Is that cool? Can you put your hand in there? All right, so we're gonna serve this martini in a martini glass. Let's grab it. It's chilling in the freezer. Now, you've seen several of my glasses. This is by far the most stereotypical martini glass, a little more angular than I normally do, just for effect. We're just gonna use our Hawthorne strainer. And since I don't like any sort of ice in mine, I'm gonna double strain it just to make sure we catch anything. Doesn't look like there's anything there, but you'll see, basically looks like water, which is very much what I want in my martini. I want it to be, basically look like it's just water itself. And so then for a garnish, you can put in an olive. If you like, oh, would we sneeze? If you like a dirty martini, which I don't really, you can pour in a little olive juice. You can just plop an olive in there as well. But we're gonna do a lemon twist. So I have my fruit cutting tool. There's a little peeler there. And unlike the strand we used for the old fashioned, where we had a whole like bit of the rind, I'm just gonna take a little curl of it. I'm gonna curl it kind of over the drink here to squeeze some of those lemon oils. And then I'm just gonna plop it in. And so you can see it's just sitting in there. Maybe you can't, it's hard to do this without twisting. I don't wanna move the phone, so let's try it, baby girl, huh? I always forget how good they are since the last time I had one. It's very refreshing. It's very ginny though. So don't be afraid to step it down a little and start with a 3-to-1. So maybe like, you could do 60-20. That's still a lot of booze. So you could probably step it down to like 45-15. And you could still put the bitters in. This bitter showed up pretty nicely here. The lemon does add a lot. So I recommend that, unless you like olives, in which case skip the bitters and throw in some olives. Hey. Is that better? Like leaning back a little? Does that have to stand like Santa Claus now? Okay, so I promised a vodka variant. It'd be very easy to do the same drink and just replace the 60 milliliters we put in of gin with vodka, but I wanted to offer something a little different, something a little sweeter. So this is what we call a Parisian Martini. So we're gonna, we're almost done. We're gonna take our shaker, a new one, since we want to mix the drinks. I'm gonna put in 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to use vodka. I'm going to move this out of the way. So as far as types of vodka, it's even easier than gin. There's not a lot of bad vodka. Well, there's plenty of bad vodka, but there's lots of good ones. So this is Tower vodka. It's Texan. You know why we have it in that case. The wife is a Texan. But this one we're also going to take 60 milliliters of. So for those of you who have been asking, 60 milliliters is 2 ounces. If you just have ounces, you can use 30 milliliters to 1 ounce. It's an easy conversion. So in goes the vodka. I'll confess I'm more of a gin man than a vodka man, but I've had plenty of good vodka drinks. We're gonna take our dry vermouth and we're gonna put in 20. So we have a 3-to-1 ratio going on here, but we're gonna add a little something here to sweeten it up. And let's cap the vodka. Baby girl, you want the vermouth? It's not good straight. Remember we learned that in week 1? Yeah. We're gonna take Elderflower Liqueur. And this is one I have from Trinidad. I think you can only get it in Europe and the Caribbean. It's called Bowls, B-O-L-S. Hey, shh. A more common brand you see here is St. Germain's Elderflower. It's a very pretty bottle. It's about 35 bucks. Highly helpful. It makes very sweet cocktails and you go through it very slowly. Hey, we're good. Another cheaper one that's like 12 bucks is called St. Elder. It's not quite as good, but it's cheaper. And the quality of the Elderflower Liqueur is not drastically different. So for this, this is really sweet. So if you like a sweet drink, put in 20. If you like a less sweet one, put in 10. I'm gonna balance it out with 15. You can see it's kind of syrupy. Maybe you can't because I'm too far away, but so be it. Charlie wanted me to be further back so he wasn't looking up my neck, and he gets his wish because he's Charles Leaper. Hey. Shh. We're almost done, sweet pea. Okay, so I thought for this one to mix it up, even though I normally stir it, so I have that clear look, I was gonna shake it. Hey baby girl, you ready to shake? So we've got our vodka, we've got our St. Germain's, our Elderflower, and we've got our dry vermouth, shaker glass, pint glass. Oh, look at this. Oh, is that exciting? Is that fun? Yeah. Oh, is that funny? Did you like that? So I don't know if you can see in here, but you can see, that's not gonna work. It's all fizzy. So hopefully that shows when we pour it out in our glass. And I thought I would show you a different type of glass. This is a coupe glass, circular. It will serve anywhere it calls for a martini glass. You can generally use this. It's about the same. It's just a different presentation. So we're going to strain this, and because we shook the ice, we're definitely going to want to double strain it to prevent any of those little ones being in there. So you'll notice, maybe you won't, because again, the limitations of my camera, you'll see, maybe we can show it here. It's silly not to. You can see it's not going to be as clear. Here we go. Ah, there it is. Ta-da! So it's a little murky, a little cloudy. That's from the gin, or that's from the shaking action, which is not going to give us as clear as that stirred action. So, what do you garnish this with? Hey, hey, not baby cries. Lime. So we're going to cut up a lime here into quarters. Oh, this knife needs sharpening. How about that? It was nearly very bad. So I'm not going to squeeze it or anything. I don't want the lime flavor. I'm just going to take the lime, wedge like a quarter of it, and pop it in the glass. You can also line it on the rim, but it's not a margarita. I like to pop it in. It adds to that. So let's try this. If you like a really smooth, sweet drink that you can drink a lot of, that's hard to beat. You just get a little taste of that vodka flavor. You get a little taste of that Saint Germain elderflower, which is a very unique flavor. And you get that dry vermouth to carry it. So remember we talked about sweet, sour, and bitter. In our original martini, we get the sweet. Hey. We're gonna get the sweet and a bit of the, we're gonna get the sweet from the dry vermouth, we're gonna get the bitter from the bitters, and we're gonna get the sour from the gin. In the Parisian Martini with the vodka, the dry vermouth, and the Saint Germain elderflower, we're gonna get the sweet from the elderflower liqueur, the sour from the vodka, and we're gonna get some sour, or some sweet and some bitter from the dry vermouth, which is gonna taste a little bitter in comparison. So anyways, those are tonight's drinks: the classic dry martini with a lemon twist and the Parisian Martini with a lime garnish. So QNI, cheers from Ben and of course his lovely assistant Valerie. Good night.